Welcome, Impactful Parents! It's time for the Impactful Parenting Podcast, where I give you parenting tips and resources to make you a more impactful parent to your school-age child. I am your host, Christina Campos. Hello, everybody! I am going live. Hello, everybody! I'm going live all at the same time today on all my platforms. It is Question and Answer Thursday, and today we're going to talk about no one knows what they're doing. Nobody does. So I hope you turn in and listen today, because every Thursday I come on here and I answer one of your questions live. And today I'm doing my live broadcast all at once. Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. It's all going on at the same time. And then I will redo this onto the Impactful Parenting Podcast after this. So if you have a question for me, please DM me. Please email me at theimpactfulparent@gmail.com. But let's get to this. We all don't know what we are doing. So today I'm actually going to tell you a little story. And this story is about a mother that I know. And she has this son. And this son, from the time that he was very little, was always just a little off, like just trying to figure out what's going on. This kid was always climbing all over the place, could not stop moving. This kid just seemed to be very tactile in a lot of ways. And then on the flip side of that, this child also would go into bouts of time where they didn't want any kind of stimulation at all, would not like to go into a birthday party because there was too many people there, would not like to go to certain events because it was just too much to take in all at one time. And the mother can see that something was a little off with her child, but didn't know what to do about it. Had the child tested for ADHD to see if maybe it was a hyperactive activity that was going on. And over some time, this mother finds out that it was actually sensory processing disorder. Now, sensory processing disorder, if you don't know, is this really, we all have our senses, and all our senses are on a spectrum. So most of us fall right in the middle, where we tolerate some activity, and some things hurt our ears and some things hurt our eyes, but we're fine most of the time. And if you don't sit on the middle of the spectrum, you can sit on the ends of the spectrum. So you could be super sensitive to certain things, super sensitive to light, super sensitive to touch, super sensitive just to anything that's stimulant on the outside. On the flip side of that, maybe you can't feel anything, and now you're sensory seeking and you're craving input because your body just wants to feel and it wants to take it all in, but it just isn't processing it. So this mother finds out that this child has sensory processing disorder. That was quite the journey for this mother. And over time, this mother also is like, something's not right. Something's not going on. I don't know what's happening. He doesn't want to learn his alphabet. He doesn't want to engage in school. And there goes another bout of worry and sleepless nights. And what's going on? I want to help my child, but I feel helpless and I don't know what to do. And over time and over many years of doing just about anything that they could, they went through eye tracking therapy to see if there was something wrong with the way that her child tracked the words across this page. They were continuing to do therapy with sensory processing disorder. They did listening therapy to see if they could change different things by listening algorithms. And they tried tutors and just about everything that they possibly could, just to find out that this child was dyslexic, but really didn't fit in quite the dyslexic box, but they didn't know what else to call it. It was definitely a reading comprehension issue. But over time, this child just learned how to cope with things and get around it and advocate for himself and things like that. Then let me tell you about a separate child that this mother is worried about. This separate child is was fine for so long, extremely bright, in fact, gifted in knowledge, had the child tested and was, the IQ was amazingly high, but hit a wall at, I think it was age 15, where suddenly things just started crashing down on this child and got really difficult. Worried that this child was going into some bad depression. The mother was terrified, scared to death that this child was slipping away from her, and this mother couldn't sleep at night, always watching the child, making sure the child's okay, again feeling helpless and hopeless and wondering what to do. This mother went to classes upon classes to learn as much as they could about not only gifted education, but also about depression, about anything that could give warning signs to self-harm, anything that could give warning signs to anything that might be coming in the future, because they could see this decline happening. How can I help this child that is falling further and further away and seems to be extremely anxious upon anxious, and it's getting worse. Then finding out that this child has perfectionistic tendencies, and that brings on more problems and more issues to deal with. And the mother continues to research and take classes and go back to school and all the things that this mother could do to possibly help her children. And then there's this other child the mother has. This child is suddenly around age 8 to 10 starting to become explosive in their emotions. Anger and again, you can see that this child has anxiety and this child is needing more help. Fortunately, the mother had already done a lot of research and knew so much that she could help this child, but they continued to go through the process of learning how to control the anger, learning where the anger is stemming from, learning how to dig a little bit deeper to figure out where all these big emotions were coming from. But still, it's a process, and it is time. Nothing goes away so quickly overnight, right? When you're a parent. And then there's the last child. This child seems sweet and seems like things are okay, but the mother is now on guard, watching carefully, knowing that she's armed with all this knowledge, but she's waiting, and with armor this time, going, I'm going to make sure that everything's going to be okay. I know how to identify things early. I know how to search for the right answers now. And if you haven't figured out yet, this mother is me. This is why I started The Impactful Parent. And I'm doing this live broadcast today because this is my closet. And this is where I founded The Impactful Parent. See, if you're a parent, you know you have a place in your home where you go and you have this spot where you can feel feelings and do the things away from these eyes that are watching you. And for me, it's my closet. And every time I had a challenge with one of my children, I would come into my closet and I would think and I would try to figure things out. And I want parents today who are, I know, going through so much right now, not only with the holiday season, which is tough on any normal given year, but right now with all of the stuff that's happening in our world, we're all feeling really overwhelmed. We're all feeling, excitement that things might be turning around soon, but it's hard. It's just hard. And even impactful parents, in my opinion, we all are doing what we can. We're all trying the best we can, but we all don't know what we're doing. Because in my opinion, parenting is trial and error. What works for one child does not necessarily work for the next child. And you have to just arm yourself with as much knowledge, with as much resources as you can. And this is why one day I came into my closet right here and I said, this is how I want to help parents. I have been through a lot. And this is coming from a place of, I know a ton already about children. I have spent 20 years plus day in and day out with kindergartners, with second graders, with third, fourth, fifth, middle schoolers. I've taught high school, and knowing so much about children, and still, I'm telling you, coming home and having to spend special time with my own children to make sure that they were okay. Can I tell you that all of my children are doing well right now? But parenting ebbs and flows. It has bouts of time where things are going great and things are wonderful, and then times when your child will struggle, and times when you need help and support and other parents to reach to say, can I bounce this idea off you? Have you ever heard of this before? Is this happening to you? Is this normal? And that is what I wanted when I created the Impactful Parent, a place, a safe space for parents to come and be able to ask questions, and we can brainstorm and we can be together to work on things that we can to help you figure out what's best for you and your family. Because again, if there was some right answers and a perfect way to do things, there would be a manual in parenting, but obviously there's not. So it is trial and error. It is about finding what you can. It is about getting as much information as you can. Which now I feel like I have been through it. I know what it's like. I can been in your shoes, and I want to pay it forward so that somebody else's journey is just a little bit easier. And I want to be there for support for you if you need it. And I wish I could reach more people. I wish that I could do so much more. I do as much as I can. I tell you my story today honestly, because I did not have a question and answer for Question and Answer Thursday. And so, but I just want to tell you, I leave your questions. I want to help. I'd love to see what I can do from my own several years of education, working with children for over 20 years, and helping you through my own experiences. There's something that happens, when you're pregnant and you get excited and you got all these resources and there's so much you can do, right? You read the books, you join the play dates, and even when you have a play date, you get to go with your child and you get to talk to other moms and dads. And then it kind of stops when your kid turns school age. Now you're dropping them off at school. Now you're not able to volunteer in the classroom as much as you had possibly before because, well, one, your teenager doesn't want you there as much, and second, because they're asserting independence. You don't need to hover over them, so you give them space. But that sure does make parenting a lot more lonely. And I don't feel like it needs to be that way. I feel like we can be better together. And so when I was trying to think of founding the Impactful Parent, other than the obvious that most of my education and helpfulness can come at the school age, because that's what I've been around and taught for over 20 years. But that's where I felt the need was too, because it gets lonely. And you can join your mother groups or father groups inside the area, and that's wonderful. I encourage you to do that. But sometimes you don't want to tell your neighbor or the people in your neighborhood even exactly what's happening behind closed doors, what's happening in your home. Especially when your kids turn into high schoolers, it gets very competitive. And I hate this about parenting, but it's true. And I'm speaking the truth because if you have a teenager, then you know this. Suddenly it's, hey, how's your kid doing in school? Hey, did they make that sports team? Hey, what college did they apply to? And if your child doesn't fit into that box, I feel like those parents get a lot of parent shame put upon them, which I think is a bunch of crap. And so I feel like I would like to create a space where parents could come and ask questions and get some help and get the support that we all need. And it not have to be a competition and not have to be somebody who knows you really close directly because they're in your neighborhood. A safe space, really. A safe space. That's what I want the impactful parent to be. I hope that you join our community. I hope that you spread the word about the impactful parent. I have special news that even today I just found out that the Impactful Parenting podcast is now on iHeartRadio. It's already on Apple and Spotify and so many other channels. I'm really excited that it's expanding, but it needs still your help. I'm still very small in the big scheme of the internet world. And the way to do that is by making comments, by liking, by sharing. Those things really, really help me if you want to support me in this cause. I'm excited to announce that in the new year, I'm going to be making some new things coming out for more support for parents. I'd like to start a small group where we can get together each week and you have that opportunity to grow together in a small group and get to know those parents. I'll have topics where we'll talk about each week that will stretch us a little bit in our parenting and as we learn from each other along the way. I will also be as always, the behavior management program, How to Help Your Kids with Big Emotions, is an evergreen thing that is always available to anyone to do on a DIY level, but I'll be launching it again in the new year to do with me so that I could support you in that process, because that's one of the most comprehensive programs. It's the most comprehensive program that I have, and I feel like any parent who goes through it should get support. And just so excited. I'm going to start opening up my doors to more individual coaching and hopefully that small group coaching that I'm going to be speaking of. And there's more things to come. But if there's anything that you would like to see, any question that you would like to ask, again, I just encourage you to participate with me, to DM me, to email me, because it's me. I'm a real person over here, and I check those emails, and your responses come from me personally, Christina. So again, that email is theimpactfulparent@gmail.com. You could DM me in whatever platform that you're in right now. I check them all daily. And you got this, parents. You got this. I'm just here to help. Thank you for listening today. Remember to subscribe and share this podcast with a friend. And don't forget, the Impactful Parenting Podcast is an extension of the Impactful Parent community. So go to the Impactful Parent website and sign up for a 30-day challenge. Browse the free resources or register for the weekly newsletter so that you don't miss a parenting tip that can help you and your family. Thanks for listening today, and go to theimpactfulparent.com. See you next episode.